Well, welcome back. We always hope you have a special time here with us on Great Taste of Manitoba, but especially when it's time for soup, which it was tonight with Karen Armstrong, Manitoba Chicken, and we welcome back Aaron Alblas from Manitoba Liquor Mart. We're going to do some beverage pairings in just a second. These were amazing. Two beautiful, hearty, delicious, wonderful recipes. Let's walk through them again.
All right. Well, we started making the chicken meatballs for the Italian wedding soup, and then we added those meatballs to a flavorful broth with celery, carrots, onions, some oregano. We added some dill. We added some spinach. And then our second recipe was the Aztec soup with a little bit of heat from the chipotle peppers. And then we put in some shredded chicken, some corn, and then we did soup bar toppings, pick your own, and finished it off with all of those good things.
The recipes for this show and the complete series of Great Tastes are available on the GreatTastesMB.ca website. And one recipe from today's show will be in the classified section of the Winnipeg Free Press.
So Aaron, I know you kind of mentioned off the top, like you hear soup, maybe not necessarily something you go sprinting to the wine cellar for, but I see that that's kind of what you did, at least in part.
Well, soup is interesting, right? Because when we're pairing wine and food, or we're pairing beer and food, cocktails, spirits and food, we're thinking flavors, we're also thinking textures, right? So soup has this wonderful light texture, combination of textures, especially the wedding soup that you put together. So what we've done is we've kind of looked at different flavors, and we've kept things fairly light. And what we have here is the Bosman Chenin Blanc from South Africa. We've actually doubled down on the wine options for the Italian wedding soup. Bosman, Bow Valley, single vineyard Chenin Blanc, and we have from Niagara in Ontario, we have Angel's Gate, Swiss Reserve, Riesling. And Karen, I know you love Riesling, so this is a little bit of a tip of the cap to you as well. Chenin Blanc, for those of you who aren't familiar, again, this is from South Africa. It's a grape varietal, it's the name of a grape varietal, and it tends to be very light, but very flavorful. And it often hints at fruit, and it can be a touch floral. This one's really lean, and when I say lean and I'm talking about a wine, I mean very light body, and it doesn't linger for a long time. So because it tends to be fruity, and you've got some dill, you have some spinach, right? You have some savory in your soup, they're not gonna contrast each other, they're gonna complement each other very well. This is a dry wine. If you like things a little bit sweeter, Karen's very sweet. Again, tipping my tip my cap. Swiss Reserve Riesling. So Riesling we've talked about before on Great Taste of Manitoba. Riesling tends to be very, very, very fruit forward, can remind you of white fruit, apples, even a little bit honey. It tends to also carry nice acidity, which is what makes your mouth water, I think citrus, very tart. This is a Swiss Reserve Riesling. What's interesting is to create a wine that has some sweetness, often you're not just allowed to dump sugar into it when you're making wine. So they actually reserve some of the grape juice, the Riesling grape juice. After fermentation, they blend it back in. So the same grapes, Riesling, right? You have juice and you have wine, you're combining them to get a subtle sweetness, off dry, but again, a lot of the same pairing theory as with the South African Chenin. We wanted to really play off the spice you had in your, I loved your Aztec soup bar, like build your own, because then everyone gets exactly what they're looking for with a great base. We went Canadian beer.
Nice.
We went with Steam Whistle Pilsner from Toronto. And what I want to say about this, it's going to be really good, play off the spice. Why we went with beer, if you have heat in a dish and you're pairing alcohol with it, higher alcohol means more burn on your palate. We didn't want that. We went with a lovely Pilsner from Toronto, Steam Whistle, around 5% alcohol. It's not going to make your mouth feel like it's on fire, and you're going to be able to taste the flavors you built into this soup.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, what else to say but to Karen.
Cheers to Karen.
And her 50th episode, and thank you very much for watching tonight. Great Taste of Manitoba. We'll see you next weekend.
Great Tastes of Manitoba is presented by Manitoba Liquor Mart. Great Tastes is brought to you by GreatTastesMB.ca. Local farms, local foods. Great Taste is sponsored by Manitoba Agriculture. Promotional consideration is provided by the Winnipeg Free Press. We're there for you. Des Daniels Wardrobe provided by Loca Boutique. Aaron Alblas Wardrobe provided in part by Commonwealth Manufacturing. Great Taste is produced in cooperation with participating Manitoba Commodities, Manitoba Agriculture, and Manitoba Liquor Mart. Great Taste is produced by Frank Digital.